Well, we really need to do a catch-up, don't we?
I think so. And I think we only crawled back from our respective holes just because of one thing that happened.
Yeah, and it turns out that while we were crawling out from under it, we kind of had a few other things to catch up on, such as the National Pokedex, Sword and Shield, which leads into the expansion pass, not to mention multiple new Smash fighters, but we're only really going to be talking about the new ones because Terry's been out for months now.
What about the main thing? What about the main thing that happened, I forgot how many weeks ago this was.
A few weeks ago, not too long ago, but the main thing that we thought was absolutely amazing, yet most people discussing the topic on YouTube focus more on that stupid expansion pass, more on that later. Rescue Team DX, the HD remake using the same engine as Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon for the original Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team.
God, I still can't believe that happened. I went into that Nintendo thing, what was it? It was Pokemon Direct with absolutely no expectations. And I know that Mystery Dungeon is a bit of a meme now. It's like, oh, they're not going to come Mystery Dungeon. And the very first thing I see...
I am so glad I stayed up until 2 in the morning to see that. Mostly because I was over the moon for it. Part of me thought that there was going to be a new Mystery Dungeon game, not as a meme, just genuinely thought that it was about time for a new Mystery Dungeon. I didn't think it would be a remake, though.
Same. I was kind of joking with people that it's like, if they do a Mystery Dungeon thing, it's going to be a gacha.
Anyway, let's save the Mystery Dungeon stuff though for later because we could probably go on and on and on for the Mystery Dungeon stuff because of how much we love that.
That's gonna be the final thing.
What would you rather start with? Pokemon Sword and Shield stuff or Byleth?
Let's do things in order. Well, actually, let's do things in hype. Byleth was probably the most least hype.
Yeah. So, the Smash Brothers Direct also happened.
Where were you on the Smash Direct?
I'm fine with it for the most part. Like, I had a feeling it wouldn't be someone major because they wouldn't be dropping the character this late and this close to when they're going to be finishing the Fighters Pass. So I had a feeling it was going to be someone smaller. As for Byleth themselves, I'm just going to say themselves because you can have either male or female Byleth.
Yeah.
For Byleth themselves, I thought they were fine when I saw them in action. We actually get to see representation of the other major weapons from Fire Emblem to the point now where I think the only weapon type not represented in Smash in any way, shape or form is the staves, but that's because those are mainly for healers, and, well, you can't really use that as a weapon.
I mean, you could if you're like multi-classed, I guess, but I don't know how Fire Emblem works.
It depends on it for the most part. Like, I think to give you an idea of it, when they did Fire Emblem Warriors for the Switch and 3DS, they made 2 of the healers from Fire Emblem Fates, the 2 younger sisters, into playable characters, and what they basically did was copy the movesets of the younger brothers of Hoshido and Nor, and just change their stats a little bit. So, Sakura, I believe her name is, she goes from a staff user to a bow and arrow user who uses the staff for her special moves, and Elise from Nor, she gets a horse and a tome to use.
Right.
So,
yeah. How you get incorporate that in Smash though.
Yeah.
But I was more so saying, where were you when Byleth was announced? Like, so you woke up, or like, what time was it for you?
1 in the morning.
1 in the morning, and you're all snugged by your laptop or whatever. You're like, yeah, last fighter. I mean, why I was thinking, why would it be someone small if it's literally the final fighter of the first Fighter's Pass?
Mostly because we knew Fighter's Pass 2 was on the way.
I guess so, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I should say small compared to how they started off with it, because they opened it with frickin' Joker.
Yeah, they did.
And then we got not only Joker, but then we got Hero, and then Banjo. And considering
Banjo is huge.
And considering as they've got a pattern of ending it on a minor note, like I think, if I recall correctly, Olimar was the last announcement for Brawl. Smash 4's final fighter was Duck Hunt Dog, technically.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Smash 4 DLC was Corrin and Bayonetta, which that's debatable at best.
Poor Bayonetta in Smash 4.
And then Smash Ultimate, its fighter announcements ended on either Incineroar or Piranha Plant, depending on who you ask.
I think it ended on Incineroar, but the DLC started with Piranha Plant.
True.
I know Piranha Plant was free, but he didn't come until later.
Yeah, he was free
until after the game was already released.
He was free, and due to the fact that he had Viridi conversations, it looked like he was just a cancelled fighter that they needed a bit more time to finish.
That's true.
Which is why I say that Joker started off the DLC, because he was actual DLC from the start.
Yeah, but the difference between Piranha Plant and Byleth is that when Piranha Plant showed up, it almost felt like he was a well-welcomed joke fighter, which I'm fine with. When he showed up, everyone was like, what is this? And when Byleth showed up, it was pretty much like me, where I woke up, saw the character announcement, and I went back to sleep.
Also,
basically,
Byleth is the name.
Byleth.
Byleth is the guy that does the elevators at hotels.
Wow. God. Whatever.
No, I just want to Photoshop Byleth's head onto a Byleth.
Oh, isn't it Byleth, like the person that helps the judge in a courtroom?
Oh yeah, that too.
Byleth.
Phoenix Wright confirmed.
Yes.
Anyway, to go back to Byleth, though, like B-Y, Leth.
Byleth.
Anyway, to go back to them though, when we saw them in action, saw their stage, they looked fine for the most part. It was an interesting moveset. They were a slower fighter. The Sword Whip was interesting. And probably the only form of Soul Calibur representation we're going to be getting, because I find it very hard to believe that they'll throw Ivy in and consider My Valentine as not for good boys and girls.
Yeah. we gotta keep this. Zero Suit Samus is all you're getting. Snake is all you're getting. It can't get any more raunchier than that.
Bayonetta.
I guess. Even Bayonetta seems like a bit PG in Smash for what she really is.
Yeah,
maybe I'm just.
Bayonetta was designed in a way so that they could get around the sensors while still keeping true to her abilities.
Nature.
Just by controlling where the camera is at a specific time and where she is positioned in relation to the camera. You couldn't really do that with My Valentine, though.
I mean...
Wait.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I'm a bit desensitized at this point. I think everyone is. I'm sure there's gonna be one good mother that takes a good hard look at Bayonetta and Smash Bros. It's like, oh, I'm not letting my child play this. Gotta go back to church.
Yeah, you say that, but this...
that in my house.
You say that, but if you recall, when Pokken Tournament came out, people were fuming at the fact that Blaziken had some feathers between his legs.
Have you seen Reshiram?
Yes. They haven't, but I have.
I mean, I mean, Blaziken, Reshiram, but have you seen Luigi playing tennis? Whoa. Whoa!
Definitely more developed than his brother.
You're right. Oh god, you're right. Anyway, what are we talking about? Freaking
Byleth.
Byleth. I didn't really see his moveset. I don't know. It's like, if they were ending it on a minor note, they did a really good job, like, casting the character. Yeah. And I think once again, I think a Mii fighter upstaged the actual fighter.
Which is a bit of a shame. Not anything against Cuphead or anything, but the fact that this was also the DLC pack where we got Altair from Assassin's Creed, yet Cuphead outstaged him.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Assassin's Creed as a fighting costume?
Yeah, Altair, the first Mii fighter costume they showed off. They didn't use the name Assassin's Creed to have Super Smash Bros. Cross Assassin's Creed. They just had it as Altair, but that is meant to be Altair from Assassin's Creed, the first Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, they're just... It's like a bootleg toy almost. It's like, here, have Mr. Assassin's Creed from Assassin's Creed.
I'm surprised they went for Altair and not the more well-known Ezio.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Though I guess they do look similar enough, you could probably pass off one as the other, but...
It doesn't matter, his name is Assassin's Creed from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, at least it's better than Hacker from Watch_Dogs.
Watch_Dogs.
Unless it's the grandmother. If they make the grandmother from Watch Dogs 3 playable in Smash, I would freaking love that.
Even as a Mii fighter?
Either that or as a full fighter.
I just want to get this image in your mind, is that you can have basically either a Sans head on a Cuphead body or a Cuphead body on a Cuphead head on a Sans body, and it's that you can make that now.
While playing on a custom stage with Megalovania playing in the background.
Yeah, and whatever creative thing you want to put on that custom stage, it's just going to be a glorified Final Destination with whatever you want to draw in the background.
I could potentially see some interesting stuff happening for a potential Cuphead stage. Like having a flat background for it and some platforms raising up and down to represent the flower boss battle, and then just have whoever the flower boss was just in the background.
I mean, that's true. You can't really do anything super dynamic on the stage builder, but at least it's artsy. Yeah.
It's definitely more dynamic than it was in Brawl.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot more glitches.
Yeah, but at least on the plus side, it could be worse. It could be Fallout 76.
Well, you know what? It just works.
Little lies stunning, shows people buy, money flows, it just works.
It just works.
I'm not kidding, that is on my iPod now, that song, and it is amazing.
Should I look it up if it's on Spotify?
It probably is.
Probably. I would look it up on my Spotify on my desktop, but my keyboard is so stinking loud. And I don't have premium, so leave me alone.
Nor do I, but I mostly just stick songs onto my iPod for it, like, do it the old-fashioned way. Mostly because I don't want to use up all my internet download listening to music.
I'm just gonna assume that you have the, like the first generation iPod.
No, I'm not that old.
So what, is it like an iPod Touch?
Yeah, it's a relatively recent iPod Touch.
Okay. I mean, why have an iPod? iPod Touch are just like phones for babies.
It's the iPhone without the ability to use it as a phone.
Exactly.
Which I'm perfectly fine with because Android's better.
You right. My first smartphone. It's my first smartphone because I'm not allowed to use numbers yet.
Yeah.
Banning kids from using credit cards. Please do.
That will never work. Actually, no, I'm even willing to go so far as to say this. You'll have better luck banning guns in America than you will to have kids not being able to use credit cards.
I never use a credit card.
Well, I say being able to use a credit card, also including them stealing parents' credit cards to buy FIFA loot packs.
God, ban loot. At least, I mean, I think we're getting closer to banning loot boxes than banning guns.
Yeah, which is... part of me wants to say that's a good thing, but at the same time, that just really goes to show just how far behind you guys are in regards to banning guns.
I mean, what about Australia? Oh wait, yeah, you have better gun laws than us. Never mind.
Yeah, we kind of banned most of our guns when our first major shooting happened.
Yeah, I mean, right now Australia's there's other things happening right now, like fire.
Yeah.
More fire.
Fire,
Pokemon
burnt towns, flooded towns, massive sandstorms. Entire populations of animals being wiped out. Yeah, we've got
how's your day?
Yeah. But apart from that, we're good.
Everything's fine.
Totally fine.
Oh, if you hear crackling in the background, don't mind that. You're in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like a very too soon joke to make.
Well, I mean, to be fair, at least we don't have Trump leading.
Don't mind me. I was actually disassociating earlier today, watching the impeachment conferences, and thinking, why is the trial room covered in granite? But anyway.
Who knows?
Is that all with SwSh news, with Byleth as basically the minor fighter?
The only other thing is the fact that we've gotten confirmation that Fighters Pass 2 will not only have the same amount of content in it, like a new fighter, new stage, new music, but it's also going to have a 6th fighter. It's not just 5 anymore. We're going to be up to DLC Fighter 11 by the end of it.
Is the second one going to be the last one, or do you think they're going to have a third one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, because while I think that they could potentially keep Smash Ultimate going forever, if they really wanted to. If a part of it would just be wanting to kill Sakurai at that point, but if they wanted to, they could.
It sounded like they looked at the success of Melee and said, we want to make that again. And we want to, if we do end up making a second Melee, we want it to be fair, because Melee, what really made Melee was kind of how broken it was.
Fox only, Final Destination, no items, the only way to play Smash Brothers, according to people.
Exactly, but they said they want to make their own version of Melee. If Melee wasn't as broken, if they did have more time to make it, this is the best way they would do it.
Yeah, and I think Ultimate is basically refined Melee. Now,
yeah, that's
still
what I'm
got
saying.
the speed and interest of Melee with all the interesting mechanics of it, but it's fair, it's balanced, it's... You can still get into it as a new player.
There's no real top tier fighter, is there?
I think there is to some people, but I don't think it's a unanimous consensus of who's broken and who isn't. It's not something like Cloud or Bayonetta in Smash 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like whoever you're great with, there's no really concise best or worst character. In fact, I think Pichu is one of the best fighters if you get to use him really well, but at the other hand, if you can't really keep up with dodging or taking hits that much, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
So, what I think it leads up to is, what character are you most comfortable with, what character do you like, and what's your fighting style?
Meanwhile, I'm just happy that Link is still as good as he was in Smash 4.
Yeah. I like Breath of the Wild Link a lot.
Yeah.
I want to use him more.
He's a good fighter. Before people say it, I'm not one of the people who plays Link and just goes bow, 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 bomb, bow, bow, sword beam, bow, bow.
Oops.
I actually do use the sword properly.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very up close and personal fighter. So
I'm a little bit of the opposite. I am more like the bow kind of user, but I get some really good snipes. I think I mainly kill somebody with a bow more. Like, I get kills off with the bow, and I feel so good about it.
yeah, it is satisfying when you get it done. But you're also the person who would play Ridley back when you could just keep running players off the stage in Mario Brothers until they eventually stop coming back. I'm still bitter about that.
That was fun!
No, it wasn't! Not if you were the one being ground into the concrete!
It was fun!
Not for me, it wasn't!
Hey, I am a pretty good Yoshi player, at least.
You are a good Yoshi player, I'll give you that.
I'm a good Yoshi. I wanted to get good with Banjo, because, well, I like Banjo and I liked how they played. But I did get into discussion about this. Banjo's side B makes me so angry that it's a really good recovery move, but it punishes you for spamming it.
Yeah. I'm afraid of when the DLC fighter amiibos are going to be coming out, because we've now got the base roster all done in as amiibo fighters, which means that we're going to be starting to see amiibo Joker, amiibo Banjo, amiibo Hero.
Have you ever seen the amiibo Sans?
I haven't.
It was just a Sans figure taped onto a Mii Gunner amiibo.
Because of course.
Oh, yeah, it's so perfect.
I would not be surprised though if Toby Fox did try and make a proper Sans amiibo and try get it compatible with Smash Bros. As a Mii Brawler. Well, Gunner, sorry.
Gunner, yeah.
Because that does sound like something he'd try to do.
I also wouldn't be surprised if there turns out to be, you know how Shovel Knight is already an assist trophy?
Yeah.
Like Shovel Knight Mii Sword Fighter.
That would work.
There's already assist trophy, whatever.
Well, I mean, like, at least the Mii costumes don't really clash with the fact that the assist trophy is still there. It's not something like people wanting Waluigi to be promoted from assist trophy to fighter, even though he's already an assist trophy in the game that was launched.
May I remind you that the existence of Chrom and Lucina.
Well, Chrome, and Lucina.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, like, you've still got the Mii Fighter outfit for Chrom, which is now constantly referred to as Chrome.
Whatever. But, it's him, as a Mii fighter, him as a fighter, him in Lucina's,
Robin's Final
Victory
Smash.
Screen, and Final Smash.
No, he's not in Lucina's, he's in Robin's.
And Robin's, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Chrom's like, Chrome. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
So...
It's a me, Mario.
Yahoo. Wahoo. Daisy became a fighter before Waluigi.
I mean, she deserved it more.
I guess so.
Everyone viewed that alternate of Peach anyway to be just Daisy. So...
Yeah. You're right. Any other Smash VX?
Anyone you're really hoping to see in Fighters Pass 2?
Who'd I say? God, I keep forgetting even my own hopes. I mean, I always hope for more any indie representation, but I'm starting to think with Sans and Cuphead that they're all just going to be pushed on to Mii fighters, well, Mii costumes. And it's kind of weird that both Sans and Cuphead turned out to be both gunners. So I'm just thinking, who's going to be the sword fighter and brawler at this point?
there are two there are two indie characters that I think do have the best chance of making the push into fighters.
Who's that?
Shantae, mostly because of that history with Nintendo.
Yeah, hair and all that.
Yeah. And Steve, because it's...
Steve? Minecraft.
Yeah.
I think I joked to somebody, they were like saying, it's like, oh, my brother cried because I want to play Smash and you want to play Fortnite, and I said, don't worry, Fortnite Phil is going to be in the next Fighter's Pass. Fortnite Phil.
Fortnite Phil I could see as a Mii Fighter outfit just for the shits and giggles. But I think out of all the indie characters, it's going to be either Steve or Shantae.
Yeah. Steve would work well as a Mii Fighter costume, Mii sword fighter with a diamond sword.
Yeah, he would. But the thing is, though, is that with Minecraft being the biggest game in the world, yes, even after Fortnite, it's one of those... That status alone would push him further to the point of being a proper fighter. And But if he doesn't become a fighter, then no indie's got a chance. Like, period.
Yeah. So it's like Minecraft Steve or nothing.
Pretty much, and I do lump that in with Shantae as well. I do hope that Shantae gets in as a fighter before Steve, but that's because I think she just deserves it.
What about non-indie fighters?
I know a lot of the Capcom fans want either Monster Fighter or Dante.
Monster Hunter, yeah.
I personally want Phoenix.
I was like thinking before. I'm thinking, does Capcom have a chance for another fighter since Mega Man's already in the game?
And they've got both Ryu and Ken. I do think they've got a strong chance at it because they've got just that big of a pool of characters that they can pull from.
Yeah.
Because aside from Mega Man and Street Fighter, they've got Resident Evil, they've got Ace Attorney, they've got Monster Hunter. They are one of the biggest third-party studios because of it.
Yeah.
And they've got a strong enough working relation with Nintendo that I do think they've got a better chance of getting another fighter in before Activision gets someone like Crash or Spyro in.
I just hope the existence of Monster Hunter World being on every system but Nintendo's isn't going to really hurt Monster Hunter's chances of appearing.
I don't think Monster Hunter World...
We already got Rathalos, what am I saying?
I don't think Monster Hunter World hinders that fact, mostly because a Monster Hunter game is going to be made for the Switch eventually. The Switch is just too big not to have a new Monster Hunter game on.
But they would have already had it.
Not necessarily if they're continuing to support World. And modern Capcom looks to be evenly balancing its development between its different properties. Because originally when Monster Hunter was very common, they weren't really making a lot of game variety. They were making Street Fighter and they were making Monster Hunter. Now we live in a world where Resident Evil 2 Remake, Devil May Cry 5, and Mega Man 11 can all be released in the same year.
Yeah.
On top of more Street Fighter DLC support and Monster Hunter support in DLC. So
any fighters you like to see them add in just as a joke or to see how fans will react?
Not one that I want them to add in, but one I don't want them to add in purely to see the hate.
Yeah.
I want to get up to Fighter 11 and still not see Geno. In fact, I want Geno as a Mii Fighter costume just to see the pure, uncontrolled, unfiltered rage from the people.
What do you mean Geno's not in the game? Just for laughs, I'm just like, Monokuma. He's so perfect for a Joe character, though.
I could also potentially see him as like a Mii brawler, because Monokuma is the Danganronpa bear, yeah?
Yeah.
I could potentially see that as a Mii brawler costume that comes with a song from Danganronpa, because...
Oh my god, yes. Danganronpa has good tracks, though.
Yeah.
Play it.
I would, but I don't have a PS4 at the moment. I'm probably not going to get a PS4.
You don't need a PS4 as a visual novel. Just play it on PC.
You've heard my issues I've been having with my PC at the moment, haven't you?
Do it anyway. I'm sorry. God, I want to like say more more chances for a fighter, but I can't think of any right now. I'm more so in kind of either Monster Hunter or I'm really hoping Palico for that Monster Hunter representation.
Palico would be a good monster fighter. Well, Monster Hunter fighter.
Monster Hunter fighter.
Same thing.
I think there should be a Monster Hunter stage where even more monsters show up besides Rathalos.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And
it would be a boss. It would be like another boss stage.
I don't think they'll do that, but potentially some monsters coming in from the background, doing a small attack of sorts that does some damage to the field, similar to how Midgar has the materia that can call forth some of the summons from Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. Okay. What? Behemoth that's going to come back? You know Behemoth in Monster Hunter World, right?
You're talking to someone who tried to get into Monster Hunter because of you and couldn't. So no, I didn't know that Behemoth was in Monster Hunter World.
He is, and he's stupid. I didn't beat the strong Behemoth. I only beat the beginner's Behemoth before you get into actually trying to get a team and actually kill him.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't get too far in the Behemoth questline.
The other thing that makes me think that Palico would be better for the Monster Hunter representation is that you can still give Palico all the different abilities of a Monster Hunter character, but not come off as generic.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, as well, you could have
totally original.
You could have the announcer, instead of going Monster Fighter Hunter. Sorry, I keep forgetting to say it right. Monster Hunter. You could have the announcer go Palico.
Palico. It's so cute that you gotta say it with happiness.
True, but he always has to do that in that booming voice, like Simon, Richter,
Palico,
Ridley, Inkling.
A lot of what happened with Byleth, a lot of people are seeing how he interchanges weapons, and a lot of people, when they saw that, they're like, this would have been cool for a Monster Hunter character.
Yeah, and that's why I think that there's a chance of it being for DLC Fighter 2. Like I said, I personally would just rather Phoenix, because I'd think the stage potential, the music potential, and just the more sheer what the hell just happened feeling of his announcement would just be a lot more interesting, especially because Monster Hunter does have representation already in the form of the Rathalos boss battle. Phoenix hasn't got any representation in Smash yet.
What would a Phoenix right stage even be like? Are you gonna get hurt by words?
The courthouse.
Is the judge gonna slam his gavel on you and claim that you're guilty?
No. I've got this all worked out. It's the courthouse.
Oh, no.
Defense attorneys and prosecutors can be appearing at randomly on each side, and depending on who's out on the field depends on potential effects. Like, Athena's mood matrix could slow down time for a little while, or Godo could just randomly throw cups of coffee.
It will initiate burn damage.
Yes! Exactly!
Yes!
And then Phoenix's final smash is basically getting the either not guilty or guilty prosecution. And
I think it should have been not guilty.
It should be not guilty, but it depends on who you ask. And then you just see all those Ace Attorney animations of him basically cornering someone in those with those HD models.
He's gonna be cornering the fighter he's fighting against is gonna be cornered, and they're gonna look hurt, and then and then the judge slams the fighter he's fighting against is gonna be in the testimony stand.
Yes.
And yeah. And they get yelled at.
Yes, it sounds stupid, but at the same time they may
be just yelling.
Yeah.
You should just say objection.
Yes.
Down B is to hold it, and he stops time for a little bit.
Oh yes.
It's gonna be great.
But it's just the thing of, yes, this is potentially the stupidest character they could ever add. You're forgetting that they've turned Phoenix Wright into a fighter in Marvel vs. Capcom.
I remember that.
Well, some people might be forgetting that. It's just, there is potential there, and I think we really do need another just, what the hell were you guys taking to make this fighter look awesome reveal.
I think it would be really cute that in the, if Phoenix had when he wins a game, his victory screen, Maya's there. It's like, yo, you did it, Nick, yeah!
Yes!
That would be so cute.
I could even see her being incorporated into some of Phoenix's moves in some form. Like maybe the side special could just be a Maya charging out for a small distance.
Or using a party popper.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's gonna scream. Oh my god. Wait, no. Have Peach... You know Peach's Toad move?
Yep.
It's gonna be like that.
You thought we were not gonna make any more fighters with counters just because we threw in Byleth? Haha! Phoenix!
Phoenix's moves are all counters.
Oh god!
He can't do anything until you fight him. It's a glorified Wobbuffet.
Yes. This is why I want Phoenix.
It's gonna be so good.
And just imagine the Smash remixes of songs like Objection from Trials and Tribulations.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I wish I knew.
Well, we'll eventually find out who Fighter 6 is, so we can see just how ecstatic this hype train is going to get by the end of December 2021.
When do you think the next fighter is going to be announced?
I wouldn't be surprised if the next fighter is announced in the next Nintendo Direct.
That's true.
Maybe not a full reveal, but something like Joker where we see the teaser of this is where we're going to be going with this next fighter pass.
I hope it does that, and I hope it does it in the most glorious way.
Yes.
Alright, next up. I think we're all good on Smash Bros.
Before we get into the second half of the Pokemon Direct, though, we may as well get the elephant dealt with in the room. What were your thoughts of Pokemon Sword and Shield after you've played it?
The whole game, I just want to say my thoughts in the moment of playing, because those are important too, rather than just after the fact.
Yeah.
My experience with the game was basically this. My boyfriend called me and was like, and he went to go to work, and he was like, oh, have fun with Pokemon, and I'm like, okay. And I was basically, I guess after the second gym I was at, and then he calls me again, and he was like, hey, how's everything going? And I was just like, I found a Phalanx. And he's like, what? You've been playing Pokemon all day? Yeah. I do have a lot of things to say about Sword and Shield, and is it okay if I do spoilies?
Yes, this is going to be a spoiler discussion because I've got spoiler things to bring up as well. for it, but as a quick general thing to get my general views out of it, while my first playthrough of Sword I thought was fine, there were moments in it that really did irk me that became more and more noticeable when I tried to do that run for Shield, because I'm trying to get a complete Pokedex. And even taking out stuff like the removal of Dexit, because I could go on and on and on about why that's not as big of an issue as people made it out to be. There were other small things in the game that just felt rushed to me.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where, in my Shield playthrough at the moment, I got to Winden, and I took the cartridge out. And have not put it back in since.
Oh, I thought you said you took the cartridge out and, as it was running. Oops.
No, I didn't do that. I'm not that stupid. But even though I've completed Sword, so I know at Winden I'm basically at the end of the game, I just can't bring myself to put it back in.
Is this your second run through?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I keep saying I would start like a challenge run, but I never ended up doing that yet. Mostly because I just life stuff mainly. Life stuff I don't want to get into. But God, I'm dying. But one thing I want to say first about the story and about things I did like. Before we get into like the, obvious, quote unquote, controversy with this game. But what did you think of the story?
I could see where they were going with some parts of the story. I could see them wanting to put some more realism into it. But at the same time, it just felt completely disjointed from everything else, to the point where the villain... I've already said this is going to be spoilers, so I'll just say it. When Chairman Rose is eventually revealed to be the villain, I'm like, when did this happen?
Yeah. When he was kind of revealed to be the villain, I'm just like, yeah, I'll just accept this. I'm not surprised.
Don't get me wrong, I was expecting it, but it just felt like with Lusamine, the reveal for her being a villain made sense because it was the surprise, I'm an abusive mother to my children! Whereas Rose, it's like...
hit more hard.
Yeah, with Rose, it was more like, surprise, I want to try and stop climate change and can't be bothered to wait until after the tournament to finish before I summon an evil entity that will destroy all this entire planet.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to villainize the, what's known as the big man.
Yeah, and the fact that they tied it to climate change as well just really infuriates me even more, and that just became blown up even further because of the stuff that's been happening here in Australia.
How do you feel about Galarian Corsola?
I feel so sorry for it. This is just... Wow!
Galarian Corsola is just punished Corsola.
Yes.
What would happen if it was really, if Chairman Rose didn't really exist? And what if it was like, oh, Leon was the man all along, and you gotta beat him without, like, all this climate change stuff?
I could potentially see that as being something better of sorts, because Leon being a villain would turn into something more of, like, a fallen star type of villain story, where after you beat him, he turns out to be the villain and can't take the loss. So I could see that working better, especially for the story which revolves all around the sporting stuff related to the gym challenge.
What I think would have been really cool is that if, let's say Leon wasn't like a straight up, mwahaha, I am evil kind of guy, but he was more like a, I have to do this for your own good kind of villain, you know? More of a morally gray kind of thing. Maybe he was doing it for Hop.
Maybe,
you know?
But at the same time, I don't see Leon being that type of villain. I see him more as being like the stereotypical sports star of, I'm going to be a bad sport about losing, and I'm not going to be able to accept the fact
Gary
that I've
Oak.
lost.
The Gary Oak.
Yeah.
The, Claire, The dragon gym trainer of Johto.
Yeah, imagine Claire but blown up even further. Like, if Claire was one of these sports stars that you hear about in real life, where they do all this shitty rule-breaking shit because of the fact that they don't want to lose. I could see that happening with Leon as a villain.
Here's some tea for thought. Well, first off, before I say my favorite, like, this is going to be about my favorite gym leader, personally. But I do like it how all the gym leaders are so much more than just restricted to their gyms, and they actually, you know, build character around them. So you can... I feel like they're making waifu and husbando fighter 2.0 with all this, but I'm here for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do like that as well. I do wish that they did more of it other than just having these cards that you're given at points throughout the game and expected to memorize for one particular gym battle. But it's... I
mean, it's not even just a gym battle, it's their characters. You get to... You know, they get to, like, breathe more a little bit.
Yeah, I just wish that you saw more of them in action, not just, here's the card that tells you my backstory.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one of the things that...
You get a lot of peers at the end.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I think that parts of the story feel rushed, because while all this background information is cool about a lot of the gym leaders, you don't see most of it.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see Nessa in, like, a separate outfit. And, you know, and I do like it how they kept, like, the same number of people until the very end, where it was supposed to be the Elite Four, but they're not like, why have an Elite Four at that point when you can just have a rematch with the gym trainers? And I thought that was cool, and I really liked Raihan's battle the most.
Yeah.
How different it was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was interesting as well because, well, I don't know if it's like that for the core game, well, for the rest of the game, for every playthrough. Because of that tournament bracket, it felt like my Elite Four path was going to be different from everyone else's. Like, I think my Elite Four path when I was playing Sword was Nessa, then Bea, then Raihan.
But it's the only thing that changes is B and Alistair.
No.
It's still going to be the same Nessa. It's still going to be the same Raihan.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And well, I thought you were just talking about gym leaders in general, because there is 2 different sets of gym leaders that change depending on the version you've got.
Yeah, the only changes with is B in Sword, and Alistair in Shield, and Gordy in Sword, and Melanie was her name in Shield. But those are the only 2 that changed. I think they did like the gym leaders because they want a gym leader for each type. But they only made it like, there's certain types that aren't shown up, but if Avery and Clara are anything to go off, I'm sure they're gonna make more.
Yeah, probably. And
I like Avery. I want to chew on Avery's cravat. Anyway, don't mind me. I do want to point out one thing with my favorite gym leader. Take a guess who he is.
Raihan?
No.
The fire guy whose name escapes me off the top of my head?
Kabu, and no.
Kabu. It's not Gordy, because I know you played Shield.
I played Shield, but it's not a Shield exclusive.
Oh, so it's Gordy?
No. It's not a Sword exclusive either. It's not any exclusive.
The grass guy.
No. What? You got no nose.
Okay, who was it?
It's Pierce. Pierce is my favorite.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I think Pierce is my personal favorite, but even if he didn't have a lot of development at the end, which he did, and I'm so here for it, I think he got more so much more development that they give him credit for, like any other gym leaders at least.
Yeah, plus as well, we finally have a dark type gym leader. And he's one of the easiest in the games because he doesn't do Dynamaxing.
Shush. Okay, here's my thing, and I think they need to at least point this out in the anime, but I don't think the anime is going to glare that much. So of course they're not going to cover this. I read Pierce's backstory because he's my favorite. He got screwed over by Chairman Rose because his spot is the only one without a power spot. And I think there's some like really heavy like relationship, but like there was a relationship that like they don't, I don't think that they like each other, and I want to see that implemented more, and I never see them together talking, and I want to see that more. I want to see that like bitterness.
Yeah, and
you know?
Again, it's stuff like that which makes me think that they had a lot of potential and ideas for this story, but they just ran out of time. Because the other thing with it that really drove that home for me regarding the story was, throughout points in the story, you can clearly see when Rose is doing something shady, like explosions happening when you get to the Dragon Town and things like that, but when you go to investigate, Sonia and Leon are just going, "Oh no, we got this, go back to your gym challenge." It's like,
it's
dude,
like,
I am the most competent
children.
person in this entire region. Move out of the way.
It's kind of like a letdown from like the stories of Gen 4, where it's like, you're the hero of this story. You have to like try to find literal gods to, you know, and calm down these kaiju. And Gen 4 is like, you're stopping a man from destroying the entire universe by catching the being of space, time, or dimensions itself. Then at the end, if you cheat hard enough, you catch God. But then it devolves into, nah, do your gym challenge, we got this. We're the grown-ups here.
Which I do appreciate to a certain extent, because it does add realism to the fact that you're sending 10-year-olds out to stop the mafia and all that. But at the same time, this is a video game, and I'm willing to throw logic out the window for a more interesting story. And
it's an RPG. It's supposed to do that for you, the player, to feel like a glorified hero.
Yes.
But that's what an RPG roles is made for.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm willing to let it slide and just indulge in the stupidity of this entire Pokemon world, relying on the fact that old men give you wild animals to take care of and then force you to do things like beating up these elite trainers and stopping the mafia and saving the world from destruction countless times.
Pokemon wanted to reinvent the wheel, starting with either Gen 5 or 7. Well, mainly with 7, when they're like, oh, we're going to replace gym challenges with, like, this, and we're going to make... And in Gen 8, they're like, we're going to make the gym challenges a little bit more culturally, you know, make sense, in a way.
Yeah.
But they're really not reinventing anything. They didn't really announce I mean, Professor Magnolia... It was like there was no center on Magnolia at all, and she was supposed to be the professor, but at the end it turns out that Sonia was the professor the whole time of this region. But then it's like, even after that, it's I don't know.
Yeah, and
like, yeah.
Again, it's just stuff like that that makes me feel like this was rushed, and that's on top of the fact. And that's on top of the biggest controversy in the game, Dexit.
But one thing, I wouldn't say it didn't feel as empty as Gen 6 did, to me at least.
I'd say it's on par, mostly because of things like quality of life tweaks, which I like the concept of. Things like the escape rope being just a key item that you use at any time. That's great. I love that as an idea, because I always tend to have an escape rope on me just in case I need to do those I'm about to die, I need to get out of here now situations while grinding. I
got confused. Yeah?
There was one small, teeny, tiny, itty bitty little problem.
What?
There are no dungeons in this game.
They're just short.
Oh, you mean Mine 1, which is basically a straight line, or Mine 2, that's basically just a straight line, but now purple instead of red?
Hey, to be fair, Galar, Mine 1 was vertical and 2 was horizontal.
No, it wasn't.
I think it was. I know it started off like
No,
that.
Galar 1 was more vertical. Well, more
That's
horizontal.
What I just said.
No, horizontal. I got it mixed up. Both of them basically went in a straight line. I mean, Galar Mine 2, you went down hills, but again, it's just a straight line. This wasn't like.
Line. Have you seen the layout for this map? They didn't want to take like the circle approach again, so they just made it one straight path.
Yeah, which...
It looks like a game of Snake.
Don't even get me started on the Galar map.
What do you think of the wild area, though?
Okay.
I'll forgive the region for the wild area, to be fair, because I'll give the wild area the benefit of the doubt. It looked like it took a long time to make. For what you're getting.
Yes.
And for where you're getting this from.
Yeah, and the wild area itself, the surface for it, I do like.
Yeah.
Like the rolling hills, the free camera, that sort of stuff. I do like that. And if we got other regions later on which have wild areas spread out on that level, but still with that mix of straight line routes, just opened up, like the route between Galar Mine 1 and Turffield, I think was the name of the first gym town?
Yeah, Turffield.
Turffield. Yeah. Routes like that I could definitely see being returned back in some form. That's the type of route I refer to when I say I want larger routes, more than just an open world. But the wild area itself, the surface of it I like how stuff is paced out to when you're getting the upgrades for your bike. The one thing I don't like is everything to do with under the wild area. The Pokemon dens, the raid battles, and the online systems.
I don't know if it's just my Switch or whatever I think it is, but every time I try to connect online, I always have a tough time doing that.
Oh,
I don't have a tough time with anything else in my house.
I have that issue too with Sword and Shield. The online networking stuff is just really bad for Sword and Shield. But the thing about it as well, the thing with it as well is that the raid system was designed in a way that it's either you play with friends and deal with the shit online, or you may as well not bother. Because by the time you beat all the gyms, most of the raids that are popping up are 5-star raids, where if you try to do them with single player, you might as well be throwing a ping pong ball against a nuclear bomb for how much damage you're friggin' doing in these battles, because of how stupid the AI partners are. For God's sake, Solrock, stop using cosmic power!
Hey, you want a Wobbuffet? He wants to use Helping Hand.
Helping Hand I can at least live with, because Helping Hand is helping a Pokemon that's actually going to hurt the opponent. For fuck's sake, Solrock!
Died again. Pikachu Solrock wants to use rock polish.
I hate that Solrock with a passion.
I think everyone does.
I'm even willing to go so far as to say that Solrock might be the worst thing I've ever had to deal with in a Pokemon game, period. That tops Sky Tower in Pokemon Emerald. No, Pokemon Emerald.
God.
That tops those stupid Mark Bike puzzles. That tops the frickin' gang battles in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers, like the Ant Plains boss battle, that tops monster houses, that tops traps, that tops the original Pokemon Ranger capture system, where if you don't capture Entei in 50 spins without breaking the line, you have to restart that whole frickin' thing. I think Solrock, that one Solrock tops all of it. That is how much I hate that Solrock.
You wanna capture the 5-star rated Pokemon? Lemon just use rock polish.
Oh, and the worst thing about it is the Gigantamax capture rates, where if you try and capture a Gigantamax Pokemon when you are helping someone in a party, you're not the head of the party, you may as well not bother because it is a 1% catch rate and you have one shot.
Oh, you figured out the percentage? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I think if you are the head of the party, you have a 10% catch rate. But again, it's that one-shot mentality which just infuriates me because they are hyping up these Gigantamax catch rates so much, yet they are borderline impossible to do because you either, especially with the 5-star raids, you either deal with your dumb as rocks, literally in the case of that stupid Solrock, AI party members that make Gen 1 AI look like frickin' HAL 9000.
And here's my complaint with the Gigantamax. I said it right. Because I said I keep saying Gigantamax, but it's Gigantamax. Gigantamax raids. When they're not due to an event, but they're still possible to find, they might as well be impossible. And the only good way of finding a Gigantamax Pokemon you want is to kind of abuse the clock system, which I was doing for a while. Oh no, I said it, now Nintendo's gonna come after me.
Yeah. Abusing the clock system and abusing save resetting. That's the only those are the really only reliable ways to do these sorts of things, and it's just not worth it because, especially after Generation 6 and Generation 7, every time I look at Gigantamax Pokemon, I just keep saying to myself, you are not going to be here in Gen 9. Why should I bother? I have most of these Pokemon already.
Yeah. And not really a complaint, but more of like a funny observation. My favorite thing about Gigantamax Pokemon is that they're actually smaller than a normal Dynamax Pokemon. Because all Dynamax Pokemon is just the original Pokemon times 3 in size. And a Gigantamax Pokemon is just its own model. So basically when anybody Dynamaxes in Teleon, he just looks like he will squash a Centiskorch with his own foot.
Yeah. And
or like,
don't get me wrong, I like the designs of the Gigantamax Pokemon. I think that some of them are really cool looking. I think some are absolutely hilarious, like Garbodor having a full airplane stuck in itself. I think that is hilarious.
And there was a ship.
Yeah, and I think these designs look really cool. I just cannot bring myself to care because of how these systems were designed.
Since Gen 6, I want to say. Because they always carried over forms and stuff from Gen 5, like the genies and Meloetta.
Depending on the
Rotom.
form, Spiky Pichu still says hello from Heart Gold Soul Silver.
I'm sorry, Pichu. But this was like, I'm saying mechanic wise, Pichu was just cosmetic.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, Pichu. Also, Cosplay Pikachu says hi from Gen 6.
Yeah, that too. Not even Gen 6, just Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
But at least in Gen 7, they try to carry over Megas. But in Gen 8, they're like, let's just, do our own thing again.
Yeah,
and Charizard's here! Hey!
And that, to go into the stuff with the expansion pass, that is honestly the number one reason why I'm not interested at the moment in the Sword and Shield expansion passes, because the way they were advertised in the Direct was, look, new wild areas, look, new Gigantamax Pokemon. I don't care! Because until you fix that netcode and make these things actually frickin' doable, not just sheer random dumb luck, I don't care.
I got a little bit more use to netcodes, but I still think it's the stupidest thing. Even after I put in, like, there's like a good percentage chance that you're gonna match your chosen random number with somebody else's. So I'm just like, okay, put in a number, and then we gotta count down before we actually connect, like a frickin' animal, like a frickin' Neanderthal.
Yeah, and
you know
that's
what I mean.
Actually, I'll add to the netcode stuff with it as well.
Yeah, it's silly. Why aren't there friend codes anymore? Why do you have to do this?
Yeah, and the other thing with it as well is that the refresh rate for notifications to try and find raid battles to join is so small compared to the 2-minute time limit you've got to find people to join your raid. You again might as well just not bother. But the thing is that the AI is so stupid that doing it single player is borderline impossible. Again, fuck you, Solrock.
All I heard was again, fuck you, Solrock, and you like cut out for a good minute.
I was basically just complaining about the fact that the net code for the refresh rates for the notifications is so bad that you're not going to find a raid that you can actually participate in time, which again just encourages you to do it single player. But doing it single player is so bad because of the dumb AI. Again, fuck you, Solrock.
Oh, you know another thing? Have you noticed that there's something glaringly missing in in terms of trading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The GTS.
What is it again?
The global trade system.
What? Yeah. Here's why I'm so disappointed. I know Zacian was going to be the superior wolf from the start. I mainly picked Shield because I wanted the characters more than the Pokemon, because I know the Pokemons, like, I could always trade for it on the GTS. And then I reached post game and there's no GTS. So I'm like, well, I did find out that later I could trade my Shield Wolf for a Sword Wolf, because there are different like region codes that you can use to try to trade your Zacian, your Zamazenta for a Zacian. And
yeah.
I'm really tempted to do that.
But that's just players working around those dumb mechanics of the game. That's not something good. That's not something to actively promote.
Yeah, that's true.
The other thing with it as well, with the trade systems and all that, is that it's... the whole thing with it, it's just... it feels forced in for the sake of it, and it just doesn't work that well anymore. Like, Generation 6 had some of the best online connectivity functions, period. Because all of it was down on the bottom bar. It would make sure that you knew your friends were online first and foremost, and then it would show you randoms down the bottom. You could easily find trades, you could easily find battles. It wasn't stuff like the Pokemon Let's Go thing where you had to use those Pokemon codes, and the fact that you've got to use codes again to do these types of things, it just blows my mind just how backwards these systems are now, to the point where even when they tried doing it the first time in Generation 4, it just worked so much better.
Yeah.
And this is me promoting the GTS as something better when I still remember all the trades were, hey, you want my random piece of garbage? Here, give me a level 9 or under Lugia.
That's what they're trying to prevent when they remove GTS.
But it's the YouTube problem of you need a scalpel, not a shotgun.
Yeah.
Or in this case, a tactical nuke.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah, all good.
But here's a good question. I know you said you're not really interested in the DLC before, but what would you rather have? $30 DLC or a $60 game?
$30 DLC, and don't get me wrong, just because I'm not interested in it doesn't mean I don't like the concept of the DLC. And for the record, it's $45 here, which is another one of the reasons why I'm like about it. It's just the content that's being offered at this moment, and from what I can tell of the content being offered, it's not really appealing to me because I'm the kind of person who just wants to collect the Pokemon themselves. So, if they were advertising it more as like, look, new Galarian forms, look, brand new Pokemon, all those types of things, I'd be more interested in it. But because the way it looked, it looked like to me they were doing, look, more raid spots, look, more raid Pokemon, look, you will continue to use our awful online systems, because fuck you.
Yeah, basically.
It's the...
Oh, Pokemon.
The reason why I got so heated, though, earlier, is that I want to like this game. I really do. There are parts about it I like, but a lot of these things I was willing to accept back in Generation 6, and I'm quickly becoming less and less forgiving as time goes on.
Because even though they, as I said before, even though they try to reinvent the wheel, or at least they're saying they're not really changing anything.
And what things they are changing, they're not going far enough with it to justify the stuff being taken away.
Yeah.
And it's just, I want to try and support this further, but there are things about it that may sound like small problems, but all those small problems keep building and building and building. Like, with Dexit, for example, I could live with the fact that not all the Pokemon were going to be in the code of the game. Because, unlike what some people say, you cannot complete you cannot capture every single Pokemon in just one set of games. It has never been possible to do that. Ever.
Yeah.
And I will get into this more when we properly go into the expansion pass. But it was things in Sword and Shield that really made me put those things regarding Dexit into perspective, because even minor things like the fact that this is now the first Pokemon game to have actual loading screens. And it just took me out of the experience completely, even more than just a Fade to Black did.
I kind of felt the opposite, but like only in a perspective kind of way, because before I got into, Sword and Shield, I was like catching back up in Iceborne. I was really into Monster Hunter Iceborne. The loading screens for that, you have to have a really good amount of patience, because they take a solid like minute and a half to complete. And I'm playing on console, so I don't have the luxury of PC loading screens.
Yeah.
But when I got to Pokemon and there was a loading screen, I'm just like, whoa, I'm here. Whoa, that was fast.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong.
Don't
get me wrong. Yeah. These loading screens are fine in the wider concept of gaming in general. Like, they are 5 seconds at most. They are nothing. It's just that for someone who plays a lot of Pokemon games, it is jarring from that perspective, where even in Generation 7, where you had these 4 small islands that need to be constantly loaded in from time to time, even they didn't need load screens.
Yeah, or maybe like the fly screen was just a cutscene over a load screen,
Yeah.
Maybe.
That is basically what it was, and even things like Super Mario Galaxy, when you're using a launch star to go to another planet, that's a load screen.
Yeah, there's no seamless load screen is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel seamless.
Yeah, and even the fade to black felt more seamless than the displaying the chunk of the world map with a prompt saying, "Hey, dumbass, go here. Hey, dumbass, this is what you're supposed to be doing." That just took me out of the experience for it completely, because it made these sections of Galar feel smaller than the islands of Alola. And while I was fine with the disconnected map in Alola because these were 4 islands, this is a continent. This is one place.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Drop my screwdriver. Oh god, what was I gonna say about load screens? Oh yeah, just a note. Whenever you use Corviknight and you fly, and you see that little Corviknight thing on the bottom, they still haven't. Like, I screamed about this on Twitter. I literally screamed about it. They still didn't take out that little PNG artifact.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing with the points where it felt rushed.
People complain about the cursors all the time, but the PNG artifact on the Corviknight ride icon?
Yeah, I was about to say that you could see a mouse in the cutscene that plays over the credits.
Oh god, I lost you again.
Ah, damn it. You can see the mouse for a split second in the credits in the animation that plays in the final credits.
Yeah.
It's that sort of unpolished parts of it which really, again, just further adds to the fact that this game feels rushed.
Yeah.
So,
I think aspects of the game were rushed because of the existence of the wild area. I think all the I mean, I can't prove this, but it feels like all the dev time kind of went to there.
I think it went to both the wild area and the fact that from reports that have been coming out, the conversion of all the assets for the Pokemon became corrupted, which led to them needing to cut most of the Pokemon because they were having to rebuild those assets as close to the originals as possible.
Oh.
That's just rumor, though, based on a leak. That's nothing conclusive. That's not proven.
That's true. I was first mad about Dexit because I was like, well, what about the sentimental people who painstakingly got one Pokemon over from 3rd gen, which was the beginning of transferring Pokemon?
Yeah, and on that level, I agree with the people for Dexit. I was always looking at it as going, okay, they might not be in this for now, but they're probably trying to rebuild those assets and letting this generation be that awkward growing phase point. That's why I was willing to at least let it slide for now. If it was going to become a reoccurring trend, that was when it was going to be an issue for me. And
they announced that it was going to be like that.
Yeah. That's something, though, that could easily just be changed as time goes on, because there are several years between generations. And the expansion is going to add more Pokemon in the end, so... Yes, and you know what? Before we go into the expansion, I just want to say this right now. For fuck's sake, people, no, they are not locking Pokemon behind a paywall. If you have these Pokemon already in Generation 7, ready to transfer over, you can get them in the game via Pokemon Home. That is not a paywall, or at the very least, that is a paywall on par with transferring them from Generation 5 to 6 and 6 to 7.
And here's what I do like about the update that's going to come with the expansion. You don't need the expansion to obtain these Pokemon. They are going to be in your code starting off. You can ask somebody for a Garchomp. They'll give you a Garchomp regardless if you have the expansion or not. The only thing you're going to get with the expansion is your own ability to get these Pokemon to go to the wild areas and new stories. You can also join in raids that are going to be with this expansion doesn't matter if you have the expansion or not. You can still join somebody on those raids.
Yeah, the updates, the free updates that are going to be coming out with it are so that anyone who doesn't have the DLC can still do parts of the stuff with the people who do. They can still battle with people who have the DLC and have those Pokemon. They can still trade with people who have the DLC and have those Pokemon. They can still do all those types of things. With a lot of the older Pokemon, if you have them ready to go in Pokemon Home, you'll be able to transfer them across. The only thing they are paywalling you is the ability to catch them for yourself without the need of raids.
You can always ask somebody to trade it over.
Yes, and there is a difference between paywalling your ability to get the Pokemon and paywalling the ability to catch the Pokemon. That is the thing. It doesn't
matter if you have the expansion or not. If you have Pokemon Home, you can always transfer your own Pokemon, allowing Galarian border rules.
Yes, that is the thing with it as well, and I am getting so sick of people saying they are paywalling your ability to get the Pokemon. They're not.
Same.
That's not what's happening.
Yeah. Remember when we thought Gen 5 was the most controversial Pokemon game?
But that's the thing with it as well, is that people are so quick to jump on these gut reactions that they're not looking at the larger picture of it. And if we are going to be calling the Sword and Shield expansion pass as paywalling you from getting Pokemon, then Pokemon Colosseum and Gale of Darkness say hi. Pokemon...
Yeah, exactly.
Every subsequent game after the start of a generation where they add Pokemon or change the Pokedexes for those regions, they say hi.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, to transfer from Pokemon Generation 4 to Generation 5, you needed 2 DSs.
Hi.
Yes. How is that not a paywall, but paying a free update to get these Pokemon added to the code, and you have to pay for the ability to catch them again? How is that a paywall?
What else on Pokemon?
We may as well go into the expansion passes themselves. What are your thoughts from what we've seen of them so far?
I mean, I said it's a better alternative than just getting another game. I think for all that they've planned for the expansion pass, I'd say it's pretty fair. And really fair DLC, I would say. Because we all had a bitter taste in our mouth hearing DLC, mainly thinking about like companies like EA that handle DLC very poorly.
Yeah.
This is a best case scenario for a DLC.
For Pokemon, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for Pokemon.
And
for Pokemon or any game, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think it's the most forgiving DLC I've seen. You're not really losing out on much if you choose not to do it, because you're still going to get the Pokemon if you know friends that have it.
Yeah, what you're missing out on really is post-game content, and though I'm not a huge fan of locking post-game content behind DLC, I can at least understand it for the people who don't really care much about post-game content after they finish the main story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sizable post-game content, which, if it was like, hey, pay $50 for a couple of extra maps to play on multiplayer, then I'd be more furious. These are huge expansions to it. That's why they're referring to it as expansion passes. We're getting new characters, we're getting like 200 new costume outfits. That is insane.
A Rotom outfit that doesn't look like Poo Poo Garbo, but I'd still rather be in the clothes I picked.
We're getting new backpacks, which makes me like the fact that the male protagonist is getting a decent backpack and not just look like a box with straps on it.
Hey, what do you mean? What do you mean? Demon Slayer's a good anime.
Fair point.
Oh, are you sure you don't want the new Xbox being strapped to your back? Is that what you don't want?
I didn't even think of that as a joke. That is well played.
This is a good one. This is a good one. This is a good one.
I'm not kidding though. With this generation, the reason why I started with the female trainer for sword was because I hated that backpack.
You didn't even want a damn box?
No, I wanted a bag, not a box.
Guy's cute, but the girls always get the most hype for some reason. I don't know why girls sell things, but I guess they do.
I could give a reason, but let's try and give the slight semblance of the fact that this is intended that this content can be viewed for all ages. Let's give the minor attempt at that fact.
See what you did there.
Also, for the record, Copper, don't bother trying to demonetize our content. We're not making any money off of this anyway.
Let's demonetize us. Wait, what we gotta do? Add like colorful animations? Hey kids. I said the word kid! Ah! They're taking me away right now. I'm going to jail.
No, what we can do to try and get monetization is throw Elsa and Spider-Man into something.
Shh. Peppa Pig. Shh.
Oh, and Peppa Pig too. We can't forget about Peppa Pig.
Anything else with Pokemon? I think we covered all that needed to be said.
What do you think of the new Pokemon that they've shown off, though, for the expansion passes? Because we've seen what looks to be Galarian forms of the legendary birds. We've seen three new...
not gonna, like... Everyone's talking about the Dragon Reggie, but the Electric Reggie looks interesting.
Yeah, I actually like the Electric Reggie a lot more than I like the Dragon one.
It's not that I like him more, it's just nobody really talks about him.
Yeah.
The birds look insane.
Yeah. The Gigantamax forms of the Kanto Pokemon and the Galarian starters, they look cool. Like the fact that Blastoise basically just becomes this giant tower of battlements. That looks awesome.
I like Venusaur a lot for some reason. It looks better than Mega Venusaur.
Yeah, it does.
Charizard can go suck a lollipop, go away.
Yeah. I'm just annoyed at the fact that every time they keep trying to come up with new forms of Venusaur, it's just, hey, why don't we make the plant bigger?
But all he is a big plant.
It's why I'm kind of hoping that they do a Gigantamax Parasect at some point, because the whole joke is that the mushrooms consume the body. Is Gigantamax Parasect just a giant mushroom?
I mean, a Dynamax Parasect is theoretically a giant mushroom.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not even attempting to be the body of a Paras anymore. It is just a giant mushroom.
Oh no! Where are the eyes?
It doesn't have them anymore.
No. You Gigantamax a Parasect, and all it is just a Mario mushroom. It's not even a reminiscent kind of thing. It's literally just a Mario mushroom.
And every time you hit it, it makes the Mario sound effects.
Exactly. That's its cry.
That's amazing.
People have already been modding the game and replacing Pokemon animations with Mario.
Because of course they have.
Just Mario. It's like when they put in Ball Guy and Ball Guy T-poses. It's strange.
Now I'm just imagining Ball Guy doing Jump Up Superstar.
Oh, he would though.
He would.
Ball Guy's great.
Ball Guy's creepy,
Ball Guy's the best Pokemon character now.
Yeah.
He should have been the champion.
He should have been the villain.
You're right. It's like, everyone makes fun of the mascot, but they're never prepared for the mascot for starting the darkest day.
You thought the villain was Ross? It was I, Ball Guy!
By the way, Leon, his base outfit, like his champion outfit, he looks so stanky.
Yeah.
That cape is probably never washed. Have you seen Leon, what he looks like in post-game?
I have. He actually does look a lot better in post-game.
I look at Leon in post-game and I'm just like, why does it look like he's ready to perform for Hamilton?
Have you actually done anything in the Battle Tower yet? I've not actually gone there.
I did some. I've been feeling too lazy to actually make new Pokemon to do the Battle Tower, so I haven't really done much.
Fair enough.
I would like to, but I'm just like, I really don't want to feel like doing the Pokemon making process.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one thing I'd like to talk about for talking about Sword and Shield. How you like them fossils?
Oh god.
Oh god. Oh god, please, no.
I mean, I kind of want to see them keep doing this because I do think it's got an interesting potential, but could we also get forms of those fossil Pokemon where the head and tail are belong to the right Pokemon this time?
I think I've heard somebody either speculate or want this before, and I say, no! You are going to accept them for who they are.
But at the same time, though, imagine Rampardos with Aerodactyl's wings.
Oh, you want it for different fossil Pokemon. I see. I think somebody else already made that, and I want to point out this concept to you. It flies. Don't worry about that. Archeops. Archeops is on top with, what was the Gen 5 water rock type?
Caracosta.
Caracosta's bottom. And Archeops is doing his diddly bestest to fly. It works. It doesn't look great, but it works.
Part of me is thinking that evolutions wouldn't... that the evolution parts of them wouldn't actually work. So if anything, it would be Archon's head and wings with Tortuga's body.
Oh,
which actually could be kind of cute.
You're right. It would be, but it would be terrifying. He would have to drag himself. Oh. When I first saw Arctovish, which was the water ice fossil, I thought, oh, that's perfectly normal. Until I realized that the head is upside down, I'm just like, oh god. Oh jeez, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. And all their Pokedex entries are just about how much pain they're constantly in, and like, oh god, how... All I'm imagining now is that professor with the voice of the medic, like from TF2, going, anyway, that is how I lost my medical license.
Yes! Yes! Do you know the professor's name? I mean, it's an NPC, but, you know what the name of the professor is?
I know it's got something to do with Frankenstein.
No. Her name is Kara Liss.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like a Phoenix Wright character, I swear to God.
It really does.
They're gonna get prosecuted for this.
I think they already have.
I don't know. They're guilty.
Why do you think she doesn't have a lab?
She's doing this all legally.
Yeah, about as legally as the medic is in TF2.
I'm saying illegally.
Oh, I thought you said legally.
No, illegally. Draco, oh my god. Did I tell you my reaction to Cramorant?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Here's the thing, I actually did see the leaks before I went in the game because I am one curious person. And I don't mind seeing the leaks because, you know, I'm just going to learn about them anyway. And I was so in love with Cramorant's design. It's like literally everything I want in a Pokemon. I'm just like, yes, I love him. When he got thrown out of the ball first, I had to pause and scream and just, oh, what a man. And then I saw in the leaks, Dracovish, and I'm just like, how can they make an even derpier Pokemon? I fell in love with Dracovish that day.
One thing I will say with Pokemon Sword and Shield that I like the concept of, but the execution the execution's just gone way out of hand,
Yeah.
is all the unique evolutions.
Yeah, I really like this. It honestly feels like they were trying to replicate the like the original things. It's like, oh, if you do this, you can evolve a Yoshi. If you do all this complicated stuff, you can evolve. You know, you can get a Peekaboo.
But there's a difference between doing that as a novelty sort of thing and just having those be the actual legitimate things in the game. Things like to get
Are you thinking about Rune?
Yeah,
Are you thinking about Runegris?
Runeriggers for one of them. Alcreme is another one, which okay,
Alcreme
I get
makes
it.
sense
Give it an item, spin it around. Fine, that works. But the form
Runegris is a bit much.
Well, the thing with Alcreme is that the form can be different depending on what direction you spin, how fast you spin, how many times you spin, what nature it has. There's something like over several hundred forms of Alcreme.
But what I like about Alcreme is that you can do this on your own and don't really have to rely on trading, and it also has to do with the day and night. Alcreme almost feels like it's you're following a cookbook recipe.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and I really like Alcreme. And it's all cosmetic if you come down to it. It's not like you're doing this for competitive, like, different stats or anything. It's like, this Alcreme looks cute.
Yeah. Runeriggers, though, was the big tipping point for me, because take a specific amount of damage and then run under this random pile of rocks.
I did that, and that was like my first weird evolution I had to do. And when I run under the rocks, I'm just like, do I have to level up? Or, it just evolved.
Yeah. Oh, another one, though,
that actually scared me.
Another one, though, that was really annoying, SwSh.
Oh my god, I had to evolve a number of SwSh because everyone's like, I can't do this. And I'm like, watch this. And I had to, like, sacrifice a move slot for focus energy.
Yeah.
I got 7 crits in a row at one point, which I'm like, I'm good with this, but I have to make sure I'm not fighting a Pokemon that can kill too fast, or a Pokemon that can kill me too fast. Usually I have to rely on Stuffle.
Yeah. It's just...
Yeah.
I get it, but at the same time, why do you hate me?
The overworld stuff that you have to do are significantly easier than just the, what is it? Like the battle stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
And here's my question. Does evolving, in case in this game, I know, does evolving an NK even work anymore? Because I had some difficulties trying to evolve one.
I mean, the Switch still does have motion sensors.
It has gyroscope, but it's not working when I flip it upside down. I've gotten so, like, other people have said it to me too. It's like, why is my NK evolving?
It might be something different in Sword and Shield. They have changed some of the evolutions. I know that they finally changed Leafeon and Glaceons to the ones that they should have been a long time ago.
Which doesn't make sense to me. Because in the end of the day, the wild area is a perfect contender for a Moss Rock and an Icy Rock.
Moss Rock, yes, not really for Icy Rock. Because there's no parts of the wild area that stays snowy.
You can, if anything, you could just put it by the Lake of Outrage.
Maybe. But at the same time, the other thing with it that really annoyed me with Glaceon specifically is that every time they put the Icy Rock down somewhere, it was always so late in the game that there was no real point of getting a Glaceon.
That's true.
But at least now it's just, here, Leaf Stone. Here, Ice Stone.
Yeah. Eevee. Poor Eevee. But Eevee, like, yeah, I could see that. It's a bit easier. Does Leafeon evolve with a Leaf Stone now?
Yes, from what I've heard. I've not tried it personally because I've got all the evolutions waiting to transfer from Generation 7. But the fact that they've finally done it just makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else Sword and Shield related before we get to what we thought would be taking up the biggest chunk of this podcast, and yet we're almost 2 hours in.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I think I'm good with Sword and Shield. I think we mainly cleared up the main parts.
Yeah.
Alright.
Actually, before we do go on, because we may as well just turn this into our review of Sword and Shield, what was your final thoughts on the game?
Didn't feel as empty. There's still stuff to do in post-game. Even all you said about the, what is it? The raids and stuff. It's still a nice thing that I can, like, go to and have an excuse to hang out with people online. It's like, hey, you want to do raids as we talk about the world? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's like a little good pastime, but I'm getting sick of all these raid Pokemon filling up my box, so I like trade them out, like throw them, trade them, whatever. I'm at least happy it came with an actual post game as opposed to just battling or making Pokemon.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I can respect that as well. There are other things that did irk me a bit. I'm not a huge fan of the TRs. I think they are a step backwards. The big thing for me with this is that, to me, this is kind of my last straw with Pokemon's growing pains in the third dimension. I was I was fine with them in Generation 6. I was understanding of them in Generation 7. I'm not as forgiving now on Generation 8, and if these do continue into Generation 9, it is going to be even more... There's going to be hell raised over these issues if they're still in Generation 9. They do need to sort this stuff out.
Here's the thing with Pokemon in general, in terms of each generation. The generation that moves on to a different console is always going to be a lot more wonkier than the one following after.
Yeah.
Because it started with Generation 1 that was buggy as hell. Generation 2 fixed a lot of stuff. I wouldn't say so much with Generation 3, because I think 3 was a good transition, but at the same time the GBA had a lot of the same like technical stuff as the GBC. It's just a little bit more to work with and just a little bit more colorful. There wasn't a lot of change there. Moving from GBA to DS, that you're getting right back into Wonksville again, because you're it's like slow down and there's a lot of technical limitations.
Saving a lot of data. Saving a lot of data. Saving a lot of data.
Gen 4 to 5. 5 almost seems seamless in terms of the technical stuff. 5 is a little weird generation for me, because I think that every preceding game after kind of went a little downhill in terms of regions.
Yeah.
I thought Gen 4 was the last good region. Gen 5 to 6, you're getting into Wonksville again. Everything just felt kind of empty in 6. Maybe that was just me.
Yeah, and I actually did feel that way with Generation 8 as well, mostly because of how there were so few trainers in just the general area. But anyway, continue.
But Gen 6 to 7, it's like Gen 7's much better. It's much like it feels like there was a lot more to do in Gen 7 and 6.
Yeah.
For what there was. But I'm saying the wonky ones were in Gen 1, and that was like its Pokemon's first introduction. I'll give it a pass. It was something. Gen 1, Gen 2 was fine, Gen 3 was fine, Gen 4 was the first one on the DS, Gen 5 was fine, Gen 6 was the first one on the 3DS, Gen 7's fine, Gen 8 is the first one on the Switch.
Yeah.
You're gonna have some wonk in there.
There is some wonk in there, but I think that a lot of the wonky issues with Generation 8 were worse than the jump from, like, 5 to 6, for example.
Yeah. 6 ran. There just wasn't a lot in there.
Yeah.
What's Gen 8's problem?
And I think the issue with it as well is that if it was on just the handhelds, I think the wonkiness in Generation 8 would be fine. It's tolerable.
Yeah.
But it's handheld levels of wonkiness on a home console.
But it's like a home hybrid kind of deal, but you might as well call it a home console.
Yeah, and when you got other comparisons to make for it with things like Skyrim, The Witcher 3, Breath of the Wild, the wonkiness starts to become a lot more apparent. And that's on top of Dexit. It just felt like it was that perfect storm of they were just not ready for this.
Yeah, but for what they had, and they did the wild area, which is kind of, if you really think about it, incredible for what they were doing, and they were making another game behind this, you know?
Yeah.
I'll give credit where credit's due. They did make something.
It
could have been so much worse.
It could have been so much worse, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping that the Pokemon Company and Game Freak look at this and go, okay, we cannot look at this in the same style as what we did for our handheld games. We need to be putting more effort into this. We need to look at this on a bigger picture, on a bigger scope.
I'm just kind of thankful that the transition to Switch was kind of what it was, because again, it could have been so much worse. It could have been like Gen 6 again. They put in enough stuff where I was happy with in terms of content.
Yeah.
And I could forgive the chugginess of the wild area for how expansive it was for the team that made it.
Yeah.
Again, credit where credit's due. I'm not going to be bitter and say, oh, this tree sucks, oh, everything looks terrible, it could have looked so much better.
It's all a matter of perspective at the end of the day.
Yeah, you got to keep it in perspective. And I'm thankful they got done with it now, because it makes me kind of excited for the next gen, because they already put their stuff on the Switch.
Yeah.
And I was already excited because they already made that Switch transition with Let's Go.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of felt not as bad as the technical limitations of Gen 4.
It could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse, and I think I'm glad that they did it with Let's Go. When they announced Let's Go for the Switch, I breathed a sigh of relief for whatever Gen 8 was going to be at the time.
Yeah. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot better at the same time. It's just that perspective of how much of this wonkiness are you willing to accept because it's the general Pokemon wonkiness, and how much of it was that transition to the Switch.
Yeah, and I think the people that are mainly complaining about it are not too used to how Pokemon usually runs.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm saying that as an excuse, it seems like, but again, it's all perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're asking a console game what is going to be a console game and a console priced game from a team who just made handhelds all their life.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm willing to put up with a lot of these types of things. A lot of my big issues, though, with it have just been the things that we've known that they've done better before, and these are just far less excusable.
Perspective, yes.
Yeah, that's the reason why I got so heated about the wild area and the online code, but things like the overworld design and stuff like that, I'm annoyed at, but at the same time I could let it slide.
It's like a kid that says, I want to be an artist, and and it's like their first time, and everything is like in that weird anime style that they like, and like there's no anatomy to it, but it's like you can forgive it because they're trying their best, and you're just so proud of them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best analogy, but you know what I mean.
I guess the final thing to do before we go into Rescue Team DX is, did you bother with cooking?
I did. I want to complete the curry deck, so I just got a little lazy at the end, but I want to feed my birds. I have a team of 6 Cramorant to do all my curry stuff exclusively.
Oh my god.
I had some videos uploaded, and it was like the time where I was like, I can't sleep. It's 4 a.m. Time to cook for the birds. And I think I had a tweet on Twitter that's like, the ritual is complete. And you just see all these Cramorant crowding around a freaking pot.
I've not done much with the cooking, so I can't really say much about it, but I guess the only other thing is, because of how much you love Cramorant, have you seen Cramorant spit out a Pikachu yet?
I ran a Cramorant on my main team, of course I have!
Nice.
You're just gonna be standing there like, you did what?
I've not actually been able to find a Cramorant yet, which is why I've not actually seen it. It's just... I've seen the animation of it, and it is just the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Okay. So, you know how at the very end, you finally fight Marnie, and she has a Gigantamaxed Grimmsnarl?
Yes.
So, it was my Cramorant against the Grimmsnarl, and my Cramorant's faster because it had a Choice Scarf that I found, and I kept using Dive because I didn't feel like finding or putting on the TR for Surf, and I kept using Dive. I had a fish in my mouth. The Grimmsnarl attacked my Cramorant, killing it, but before the Cramorant dies, it launches the fish. The Grimmsnarl died.
Nice.
And I'm like, hell yeah.
Suicide, motherfucker.
Oh, and one thing I want to point out with Sword and Shield, they didn't need to do this. They did it, and it's my favorite thing. Let's say if you have a Zigzagoon, and they're performing their attack animation, you can hear his little footsteps. There's so many Pokemon, you can hear their footsteps and their wing flaps. They fly. They add so many good sound effects, and it makes me happy.
Sound effects and a lot of the animations, some of them do have very specific animations designed for them. So things like we'll lose tackle, you're seeing it roll to make the tackle. Things like that, I can see what they mean when they said they want to put more of a focus on the animations, along with the cooking stuff in general. It's the reason why I'm not saying that the issues of Dexit are because they were focusing on the animations, because unlike the people who are going through all those animations and seeing what parts of it were similar, I can see where they're seeing the differences. Things like the fact that when Pokemon are launching Hydro Pump, you can see them coming out of their damn mouths and not just the endless void.
I was gonna say when when Gigantamax Blastoise comes out, how much do you bet that the Hydro Pump is gonna come out of his mouth?
Oh, I'm almost certain of it, but... I mean, Inteleon's basically Dynamaxed Hydro Pump. That comes out of its finger. Well, that comes out of the void while trying to make it look like it's coming out of its finger. But, anyway. Shall we?
Here we go. Our bread and butter. Our whole deal.
Our bread and butter, an hour and 50 minutes in.
Yeah. Sorry if I feel a little exhausted talking about this now, but Mystery Dungeon!
Woo!
I was so surprised. I was so... Because I was like half asleep and I was getting a call from my boyfriend and he's like, wake up. Wake up. And I'm like, what? You have to see the Pokemon Direct. I'm like, okay. So I go on my computer. He's like, don't look at the video. Just start from 0. And I'm like, I have my glasses off. Don't worry. I'm completely blind. He's like, okay, let's start. And then it starts off with the Mystery Dungeon text, sound, and UI. I'm just like, what?
When I first saw that, I was like, don't tease me. Don't tease me that this is just a port. Oh, that this is just going to be dumping the original games on the eShop. Don't tease me like this.
How did you feel that was a remake?
I love the fact that it's a remake.
I love the art style, oh my god.
It is so good. There are parts of the art style I'm not particularly huge fan of. I think the shadows for the underside of a lot of Pokemon, I think that's a little bit too much overdone. But that's not a deal breaker for me, personally.
Yeah. god. Did you play the demo?
Of course I played the demo.
Same. I have so much to discuss about the demo and all the implications of all the supposed leaks that went out, and I still gotta go on that one Twitter and like download something. Somebody released what did they release? They released like the portraits. They had the portraits.
Yes, and once you get those, send me the link to that Twitter account because I want to get the portraits for them as well. And just seeing stuff like the map of what's basically the friend areas, and it just looks so beautiful, and
Same.
I needed this in my life.
Oh god, I don't know what the friend areas look like though.
I've seen the leaks from them from the data mines, and they look so beautiful. And I'm just imagining hearing some of the songs, like the swamp area theme, and the pond, and the power plant, and just.
But have you considered Great Canyon and Sky Tower theme?
Stormy Sea.
Okay.
As well.
Here's one thing that really surprised me with the demo. I was doing the quiz and I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with what they give me this time around, and they gave me Eevee, and I'm like, you know what, fair enough, I could be a Sylveon in the end. And then when they asked me to choose my partner, and I had the choice between Psyduck, Machop, and the others that aren't normal because I'm already Eevee, I'm just like, what? Excuse me?
Yes, and that's the thing with it as well, because they also borrowed the mystery dungeon, the super mystery dungeon one, where, yes, if you do the quiz, it will give you a recommendation, but you can still choose your partner, who you end up playing as. There is a thing about it that does irk me, but I'll save it for a little bit.
Okay. You could pick if you have a girl or boy starter as well.
Yes.
And I have a girl Machop because screw gender, what is it called? Oh no.
Differences.
Just screw gender.
And the thing is that the gender differences are shown on the screen as well. If your partner is a female Eevee or you play as a female Eevee, it's got the Let's Go Eevee tail.
I mean, of course it does. I mean, I'm totally not surprised because they did that since Gen 4 with Pikachu.
Yes, but because Eevee only got a gender difference recently, it could have easily just kept it as the spiky tail and let that be that. But no, it's got the heart tail as well, and yes!
I got that because I'm an Eevee. What did your team end up being?
I went for Torchic and Mudkip.
Of course. Oh, you're not gonna do like the obvious thing where it's like you can actually choose a partner that's not a starter Pokemon?
I was going to, but I ended up choosing that team mostly because they're two of my favorites. But the thing with it as well is that when I got the quiz done, and I posted about this on Twitter, before I started the game I watched someone play through the demo. They got Male Hasty and got Torchic. Cool. When I did the quiz, got Male Hasty, so okay, sweet, I got Torchic first time. It recommended me as Eevee.
That's weird. I don't know why that is. Should I go back in the quiz and try for myself? I'm not sure. Thirsty. But yeah, I mean, I just did the quiz first time, and I was gonna be honest for my answer. I'm really happy it gave me Eevee, because I'm like, yeah, I can be a fairy type at the end of the game.
Oh, I did it honestly as well. I was just surprised I got Hasty for it as well.
Yeah.
It's just
quote-unquote honest, and you just switched to Torchic.
Well, the quiz answers were honest. The result I got was honest. It's just that when it gave me the option to be Eevee, I thought probably not the best thing to do, mostly because I'd rather have elemental stuff for the main story. Because
oh no, I did the opposite.
Yeah, because remember, you're not going to be getting Sylveon until you beat Rayquaza.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm up for that challenge.
I'm not, because I still remember my first playthrough of it when I was Marchop against Rayquaza.
I recently beat the game with a Cubone against Rayquaza. Well, to be fair, I had a Totodile with me, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of hard not to beat Rayquaza without ice, but I'm just like, I'm up for this challenge now. I can keep Machop.
Yeah.
I don't know really why I picked Machop. I just wanted something like totally out of the blue. It's just like Machop.
Yeah, that's fair.
Female Machop named Sakura.
Fair enough. What are your thoughts so far on the changes that they've made to Pokemon Square?
I guess this has to do with Pokemon Square a little bit. Towards the middle of the DLC, the demo, Diglett comes out. It's like, I like digging holes, and then he just kind of leaves. And I'm just like, you left a hole. What is this? Oh, it just loops from Pelipper Post Office.
Yes!
That is a quality of life change. I am so here for it.
Plus as well, because we see it right before... Because the demo ends right before we're allowed to go to Mount Steel. And
yeah,
that Diglett that made the hole is the Diglett that gets captured by Skarmory.
Yeah, and you don't really see him before Dugtrio's like, save our child.
And it's little stuff like that just makes me smile so much because... imagine if we see Caterpie and Metapod before we go to Sinister Woods.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I think there's gonna be a lot of, like, improved cutscenes because of, you can have a free-range camera now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, like, it's gonna have a little stuff like that. Imagine you've, like when the game comes out and you're able to play it and you, beat Skarmory, and then Magnemite says the line, "Feet? He has them."
Yes.
He has them feet.
And there are other things to it as well that I'm just imagining, because now we've got at least up to Generation 6 mechanics in this. There's been no data found for Generation 7 Pokemon or onwards, which I'm hoping they are, but they're just not in the code for the demo. Because we've got the confirmation that Mega Evolutions are going to be a thing. Team ACT, Mega Alakazam,
all
Mega Charizard, and Mega Tyranitar.
Which Charizard, though?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Mega Charizard Y. Mostly because the fire is a lot stronger for Mega Charizard Y, I believe, according to the Pokedexes. And it would make stuff like the ability that Charizard's been known to burn mountains. And it's down to complete slag. That makes sense now because of all these extra Mega Evolutions. And I just... Oh, yes! Yes! I need this!
Sorry if you hear typing. I was just trying to find the Twitter that had the portraits. That's all.
Fair enough.
So thirsty. It's gonna be good. And with rescue team coming out, that just means a potential for Pokemon. What is it? Explorers?
Yes. That's actually something I wanted to bring up to it as well, because in the data mines they've found high quality sprites from Rescue Team and Explorers. While shiny Pokemon have been confirmed to be in Rescue Team DX, they've not got the models. Thank you. We don't see any of the models for them. And if it's just using models for the game, like the current style, there'll be no need to have shiny sprites of any of the Pokemon. So why is Pink Celebi in the code?
Sorry, I accidentally muted myself.
Oh, all good.
There we go. Okay. Sorry, I accidentally muted myself because my keyboard is iffy.
Yep, that's fair.
Okay.
But yeah, shiny Celebi has been found in the code as one of those high quality sprites. And because unless they're going to do a thing where you can swap between using sprites and models, there's no real need to have Pink Celebi in the code unless it's that Pink Celebi.
The Pink Celebi.
The one and only. And the sprites just look so good.
I know we mentioned megas, but I was kind of genuinely surprised that they added megas here, since, you know, Gen 8 is a thing. They said they want to like rule out megas entirely.
Yeah, and
cool.
There's a new item that's apparently going to be handling the mega evolutions this time, which in theory I like the sound of better than how they handled it in Super Mystery Dungeon, because it's basically a new item that you eat and it gives you the ability to mega evolve, which I do like more than how they handled it for the Lupets, because it just made trying to get an awakening Lupet so much of a pain in the ass, to the point where I don't think I ever actually mega evolved in Super Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah, no, big same. I even started out with 2 Pokemon that can mega evolve, and oh sorry, and thought something happened, and it's like, yeah, I got Charizard, but it's like random which Charizard he ends up mega evolving into, and I was kind of hoping for Y more so.
Yeah.
I was strong anyway. Why do I need megas? Grumble, grumble.
Oh, and I just thought of another thing regarding megas. What if some of the boss battles are against megas, like like Unknown Dungeon and Mega Mewtwo?
Yeah. Oh, I just realized something. That mystery dungeon icon I made you with Mega Blastoise. Do you think we accidentally kind of predicted this?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm trying to get something for you right now.
Should I be afraid?
Nah.
Yay.
I'm kind of afraid because all the unknown are in here.
Well, I mean, all the unknown were in the original as well, and...
That's true. It's just a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
There he is. There he is. Hold up. I'm getting something for you. Trying to get him. Trying to get him.
So,
here you go.
Sorry if you're hearing wood cracking in the background, by the way. It's doctor's orders because I broke my ankle. I'm still supposed to. That looks so good.
Yes. You're supposed to what?
I can't wait for this game.
Oh wow. I'm looking through oh god. I'm sorry.
What?
I just saw shiny Espeon.
Yeah. I feel sorry for you, Espeon.
Fun thing I just found. Yeah, a fun thing I just found out. The starters actually have different animations, because I guess you're supposed to, not animations, portraits, because I guess you're supposed to keep them. They expect you to keep them, so you get like surprised Blaziken here.
Yeah.
Or I just saw a really good one. Oh my god. Surprised Venusaur.
Ah! What's that behind me?
Some of them doesn't seem like they're here, but maybe they couldn't rip all of them from the demo. It's weird.
Yeah.
Why is there a happy Lotad in here? I think some Pokemon that didn't really need... Oh no, wait. Oh no, I know why. Because Pokemon... Whoa.
If I could...
I'm sorry.
If I was better at animating in Sony Vegas, I would take some of those shocked faces and just have them constantly vibrating around the place during this entire video. But I'm not good at animating in Sony Vegas. Munchlax!
And look at that specific one. They, that's a remaster for when Munchlax is in here.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out that every Pokemon, or at least seemingly every Pokemon, has a happy sprite. Because if you help them, if you help a Pokemon, they're like, thank you!
Yeah.
And I just think that little touch is cool.
And I think that's something that was brought over as a change from Explorers of Darkness, Time and Sky, because I remember all the Pokemon having portraits in that game, which I'm glad for.
They had portraits, but they didn't have other emotions.
I think some of them did. Not all of them, but yeah, they had portraits.
Only the ones
compared to the original
really
game, where a lot of the, unless you were an important Pokemon, you didn't have a portrait.
Yeah. What? there's some of these Pokemon that seem so weird to have an extra sprite. Like, why does Tangrowth have an extra sprite? Why does Tangela have an extra sprite? And I'm sending you these as I'm finding all this out.
I know.
Why is this in here? Why is this Mew sprite in here? That was from Super.
I think that because it's pretty obvious that this is basically taking what they could from Super and putting it into this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same engine. So that's probably just asset reusing from Super Mystery Dungeon. But if they find a way to use that as well, because if you remember, Mew's in Buried Relic.
Yep.
Yay! I can't wait to deal with that music box again.
Yeah, Super and probably from... What is it? What's it? Gates, He Who Shall Not Be Named. Here you go, by the way. That just makes me laugh for some reason.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Poor Regice.
Because you've played a lot more of the original Red and Blue Rescue Team than I have, Explorers is my favorite out of the originals. Yeah. But what are things that you're hoping are in Red and Blue Rescue Team? What do you hope is changed in Rescue Team DX? And what do you hope that they got rid of from the originals?
I just started post-game not too long ago for my second run-through of the rescue team.
Did you mean 52nd?
Got really... Wait, what?
Did you mean 52nd, according to your Twitter?
I'm sorry, 53rd.
There we go.
Excuse you. But, God, I can't load up all of these anymore. Anyway. Sorry. I just really remember that in post-game, getting certain legendaries like Mew and Deoxys was really rough. At the end of my first playthrough, I could not, for the life of me, try to get Deoxys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say make it easier, but just make it a little bit more bearable, please.
I think, if I recall correctly, for Deoxys in post-game, it was unlock his special dungeon.
Yeah.
Every time you want to try and move on to the right floor, you've got to either beat a specific Deoxys or beat all three, one of each form of Deoxys before the stairs appear. Then you go on to the next floor, do that 19 times before you unlock the final floor and actually first the real Deoxys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remembered it right.
I mean, I think you're right. But it's like, it was so long ago for me.
Yeah. The big thing I'm hoping that they bring over from Explorers is, at certain points throughout the game, your inventory just gets bigger. Because I remember the post-game of Red and Blue Rescue Team, so many 99 floor dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, those two bag slots, they got filled up fast in prep work.
Yeah, they did. I'm still looking through these. Was a lot in here. God, I can't think. I kinda a little worried of how they're gonna do the friend area kind of thing. 'Cause you said you didn't play a whole lot of first game. Did you play any of it?
Oh, I played it to completion. The main story completion. I just mean that, unlike you, I've not constantly gone back to the first game. If I'm replaying a Mystery Dungeon game, I'm probably playing Explorers. That's
fair. But have you ever noticed how, a lot, how kind of cumbersome the, going back to the friend area constantly was?
Yeah, I remember.
That's one thing I really liked about Explorers, what they did. They did that right. I like that you can keep a constant team. But in the first game, it's like you have to keep going back because they keep going back to their friends area, and you have to keep. It's like part of that cycle that you have to do, and I really hope you don't have to keep going back to that.
I'm hoping that there's a balance between how they handled it in Rescue Team and how they handled it in Explorers, where, aside from the fact that if you want just a standard stock party and keep that as a constant, that stays there until you forcefully change it out, but on top of that, if you want to swap Pokemon in and out, you've got the option of either going to the friend areas or a Chimecho assembly equivalent at the front gate where you can go, I want this, this, and this in my party.
Yeah. But like you keep it.
Yeah.
You keep it.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Of course.
That's all I want. Also, I just found this really, really good looking sprite of Gengar.
It's gonna be so funny to see those guys again.
It's gonna be great.
One thing I do hope... One thing I'm curious to see if they bring over, though, because we know that this is being built on the same engine as Super Mystery Dungeon by the looks of it. Do you think we're going to be going to Barham Town?
I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I can't make any crazy prediction than that.
Yeah, because while I wouldn't be surprised if we don't, because that wasn't in the original game, at the same time, we know it's there, and the fact that this map is basically the map from Super Mystery Dungeon, just HD.
Yeah.
So, we know it's there.
What, Barham Town?
Yeah.
Oh my god. This almost looks bootleg. Hold on. Where'd it go? What is Munchlax's Japanese name? Please tell me.
I don't know.
I found it. There it is. 18.
Aww!
Aww.
Uh,
Are you happy? Are you happy that you're seeing all these?
Yes, I am. There's actually one thing in the demo that I'm afraid of at the moment.
What's that?
Demo? Why are you letting me get Trap Burst Orbs and one-hit Orbs now before I go fight Skarmory?
I want to say it's like a demo boost thing, or like you gotta get that little. You gotta get that little boost when you What is it? You know, before you hit those kinds of dungeons.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hopefully.
But at the same time, because if I recall correctly, the first dungeon you go to after you beat Mount Freeze, that's when monster houses start appearing. I want to say that's the forest where the Mankeys are?
Uproar Forest.
Uproar Forest?
Yeah, you're about right.
Yeah, it's around that point when the monster houses are added in, and the first dungeon of post-game is when traps are added in.
Oh.
But the fact that we're getting Trap Burst Orbs designed to clear traps, and one-hit orbs designed to help clear monster houses before we go to the third dungeon of the game makes me absolutely terrified.
I can't wait for them to send monster houses.
I can't wait for monster houses in surrounding the stairs right before I go to fight Skarmory. Oh my god, that Suncone is amazing.
That was from Super.
Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed something that was in here. Hold on. I have to find it because I was going through. There it is. I'm like going through it not in the folder but as pictures. This sprite. You remember what that mood is?
Yeah, I do.
That was in Explorers.
Yep. It's stop yelling, please.
What? What's wrong?
No, that's the reaction to that.
Oh yes. What's wrong is just a little bit yelling.
Yeah.
Some of the like emotes on these Pokemon, the new ones, are so good.
They're just amazing, and it's the emotes that just make me love the Mystery Dungeon games so much.
Yeah, it's like a staple.
Yeah.
I've noticed that there's a theme with all this. It's like neutral, happy, and I guess defeated when you die in a dungeon, and because like any Pokemon can be a leader, you kind of have to do that. Whoa.
Yeah.
I have to ask, why are some of these in here? I know you said some, like, you know, it makes sense for them to be original assets, but hold on. I don't remember this one at all. I think I can say this was from Super. This one, the Starachi.
Yes, I think that's from Super.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's another thing with the announcement of Rescue Team DX that I'm afraid of, but I'm looking so forward to it.
Yeah.
Runaway Fugitives and the return from Sky Tower. Imagine those cutscenes now that they've got a movable camera.
Don't tell me about Runaway Fugitives. I'm freaking Eevee. I'm baby. I'm not elemental.
Yeah, but you're still gonna be forced to run away and fight Moltres and Articuno.
Oh no! I was thinking the runaway like outlaws. We are gonna be runaway fugitives. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Just me and my Machop pal. Also, I have to ask. I also have to get like a visual aid for this, if they have it. Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. I'm just getting official artwork, and I have to ask if I could get it. Bulbapedia. Here we go. Please have it. Who wore it best? The scarves, I mean. Who wore the scarves best?
A part of me wants to say Torchic, but that's biased. Like, heavily biased.
To be fair, there was art of Torchic from Red who preferred to wear the scarf around the top feathers, like the head feathers, than its neck. I wasn't a really huge fan of it in Super, and I'm still not a huge fan of it now. I'm not a huge fan of scarves being fashioned like bow ties, because it almost feels like it's incomplete and it's kind of sticking out of the model.
It does, but at the same time it makes them feel a bit more unique.
I guess, but I still don't like them. I would prefer mine to be like Charmanders or Squirtles or Trico. I think wears it best. That blue really it's really good on him. One thing I do want to say about the art style. Everyone looks fuzzy, even the Pokemon that don't need to be fuzzy. They look like little vinyl figures that have fuzz over them, but they still look hard. And that applies for each one of them. One
of the things, though, with the art style that I absolutely love is that they remastered the main menu art, and yes.
They made Pikachu even thinner, even on the original art.
Yeah.
My favorite piece of art is with that Trico, though. God, I don't know why Trico looks so good in this game.
It's just amazing. It's just, I want this. I need this. I need this in my life.
Totodile still looks dopey as hell. He always looked dopey in Mystery Dungeon. He still kind of looks dopey now.
Totodile always looked dopey in general.
That's true, but his original Mystery Dungeon sprite was the scariest thing.
True.
You know what? I kind of wish if they do start making TV advertisements for this.
I hope they do. Because I hope they do, because I still remember those old commercials.
Same.
And they were just amazing, and just...
Charmander comes up and just goes, "Come on, we got rescuing to do."
Yes, and I'll admit this here and now. I have not felt this way about a game coming out since they announced Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Like, this is just pure nostalgia to me. This, I just love... While I enjoy the Explorer games more because of the mechanic changes that they made, I love the original Red and Blue Rescue Team still, and just seeing what they could do to that original game with all the refinements made post Red and Blue Rescue Team, I can't wait for this. And I'm so happy for the fact that it's coming out so soon, even if it's going to be buried by Doom and Final Fantasy and Animal Crossing and
Let's just have this moment.
Yes.
Let's just have this moment that's even here at all.
Yes.
And I really like that cover art because it's still red and blue, but it's so good.
I'm just imagining.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm just imagining what the artwork for Explorers DX could be, because I don't think the Darkness in Time artwork was meant to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely know Sky wasn't meant to tie into them, but
I don't think it was either.
It still just looks so good, and I just want this.
Red and blue always tied into each other like that, and I really appreciate that about the art.
Yeah.
Do you think the art style is a little too overbearing, or is it just right?
It's overbearing in parts, but I think it's getting that nice tone down just right. I think the lighting could be better, especially because some of the models, the undersides, well, the bellies of some of them just look dirty because of the shadows. But it's not too bad.
It gives me storybook Winnie the Pooh vibes.
Yeah.
And I think it's perfect.
Yeah, and that just fits this game just so well. And that's... If this game... Basically what I'm going to say with this is that if this game has things like the full heal before a boss battle and the expandable inventory and the wand... We know it's got the wands, but all those mechanical tweaks that just improved the formula for the Mystery Dungeon games just that much, this is potentially Game of the Year for me, if not potentially Game of the Decade if they don't do an Explorers DX, and even then that is going to be a hard sell between either of them potentially.
Well, you're saying Game of the Year and it's still just January.
Yeah. That's just how much I'm looking forward to this game. Like, it has that potential already. But that might be the fact that this is currently one of two games I'm looking forward to the most out of what's been confirmed. Because I'm not one of the people who's going like, oh yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out this year. No, it's not. Have you not seen a Zelda announcement schedule for one thing?
Yeah.
But the only other game at the moment I'm looking forward to the most is Persona 5 Scramble, because that just looks like fun as all hell.
Yeah. I have to like tone back on what I can actually get. I might have to wait on Mystery Dungeon to be a birthday gift rather than, buying it straight up in March. But it's alright because my birthday is in May, so
yeah,
it works
you're not
out.
waiting too long for it.
Yeah. But still Mystery Dungeon!
Woo!
I feel almost sort of biased, but I am excited. I'm dying.
Yeah.
For all the things that I've seen that was new in the demo, I genuinely got really excited. Even the small things.
Yeah.
Like, the little diglet hole.
And just seeing some of the items, like how they're refining the approach for the IQ system with the DX gummy and the Rainbow gummy. That has me excited because the gummies were a bit of an issue overall.
I'm just only concerned about how am I going to evolve into a Sylveon post-game.
That I'm curious about as well, because I'm hoping that they don't do the thing that they did for the original Rainbow Rescue Team, where in order to get to, like, Stormy Sea, for example, you need to have someone that knew Surf. Or in order to evolve Machoke into Marchab, you need to get the link cable, which required going to a specific post-game dungeon with a key to unlock a special door. And, that's the kind of stuff that I'm hoping that they fix in this remake. It's just those little... I get where they were going for, but it just did not work.
I love it how you said Machoke and Machamp, and I'm just sitting here with my Machop partner going,
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's where we are right now.
I kind of would like to see if they can incorporate the Generation 7 and base game Generation 8 Pokemon. Because I would love to see, like, the portrait art of Scorbunny, for example. I think that would be the cutest thing.
But you're starting off with... I find it almost kind of weird that they kept the starters from 1 to 3 and not going anywhere farther than that.
But I think that could be because of the fact that this is a remake. And
it is.
I could see them doing that, but still having the Generation 7 and 8 Pokemon. Because we already know that, like, Tangler's going to evolve into Tangrowth, and Eevee's going to be able to evolve into Sylveon, and so they're not above adding in Pokemon that weren't in the originals for the sake of this remake. I'm just curious to see how far they go with this. Because they could easily do a dungeon that's got the Generation 7 Pokemon in it, for example.
Yeah.
Besides, who doesn't want to see Happy Rowlet?
I want to see Happy Rowlet. I also want to see HD Turtwig, but I guess I already got that in the 3DS.
Yeah.
What about Gen 8? I mean, you said Scorbunny.
Yeah. I don't think that this is going to have any of the Pokemon from the expansion pass, which is why I said base game Generation 8.
Yeah.
But imagine, like, a boss battle against Cursula.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh,
sorry, I'm getting kind of tired because it's a little late for my standards. I mean, my standards, I usually am awake until 4, but lately I've been falling asleep a little earlier.
Yeah, we should be trying to wrap this up sometime soon, but...
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Nah, not your fault.
There's not a whole lot I can really talk about with Mystery Dungeon versus Sword and Shield, because Sword and Shield are out. I can, like, talk about the whole experience, but Mystery Dungeon, I can only speculate what's gonna happen
based on what we already know from the fact that this is a remake. So we know the rough idea of where the plot's going to go and things like that. We can only really speculate about what they could do to change those plots. Like, imagine a boss battle against Gigantamax Team Meaty's Gengar.
Yeah, but I didn't see any Gigantamax stuff. It's only like Mega Evolutions, which this game, it almost feels like it was meant for the previous generation.
Yeah. Which I can see that.
It's a strange feeling. Not an unwelcome feeling, but a strange one.
Yeah, especially because from what we've seen, the models are far more simplified compared to the core Pokemon games. Like, the amount of detail in the models is about the same, but the bone structure in the models is different between the base game and the current game.
I kind of can tell that it's like using the the everyday from Gen 7 kind of models. Eevee feels weird. I mean, Eevee always felt very too stubby for fluid animations for me. I felt that since... I didn't really feel that at Gen 3 at the Coliseum, well, I guess I would say Stadium, which I think they did Eevee pretty well. Still look weird, but in Gen 6 and 7, especially with Let's Go Eevee, I always thought Eevee's legs are too stubby for fluid animation.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really make a really good running animation with Eevee because he doesn't have enough bones to do it.
Yeah, and
and in
the
this
thing...
and in this game, I'm an Eevee now, and I'm living through that. I'm just like, there's no like fluidity with this. It almost feels like I'm trotting very fast.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing I was going to get to with it, because with Eevee's model, they've taken out some of the points where the model can bend. That's what I mean by they're taking out some of the bones. Like, Eevee's back legs don't have a knee bone anymore. It should be a...
It became even more stubby.
Yeah, well, it's still got the same... The model's still got the same positions and that, but normally in the base game model, Eevee's got 3 points of movement in its back legs. Like, it's got a thigh, a knee, and then a foot. Whereas in Super Mystery Dungeon and Rescue Team DX, by the looks of it, the model's only got a thigh and a foot bone. It doesn't have a knee anymore.
Eevee went through the war and they took his knees.
No, Tom Nook got to it and it took away his leg benders, literally.
Wait, what?
Tom Nook got to him.
Yeah. Oh my god. But I mean, yeah, that bone stuff, but Eevee was already stubby to begin with. That was part of his design. This poor thing can't run.
Yeah. It's why I'm hoping that if they do...
They took my bones!
I'm hoping that if Rescue Team DX is...
Oh no.
Sorry. Explorers DX is on the table, they do some work behind the scenes to improve the models, because the Switch...
funky again. We got funky routers.
Yeah, let's just try and wrap this up soon. I'm just hoping that for whatever they've got planned next, they do improve the models, because the Switch can handle them. Can you... Hello? Hello?
Hi. They're coming back slowly.
Yay.
There you are. Hi.
Hi. I think that's my router saying, hurry the fuck up. So,
yeah, I'm sorry.
Nah, all good.
So, let's wrap this up before we die.
And get to the 3-hour mark.
Yeah.
So,
excited for Mystery Dungeon. I can forgive Sword and Shield. And Byleth is big snooze.
Yeah. Hyped as hell for Red Rescue Team DX. I'm getting my names confused now. Sword and Shield I had issues with, which is why for the expansion pass I'm really looking for more information before I commit to it. Byleth looks fine, and I'm curious to see what they've got planned for next. For Smash. Also give me Phantom Strikers. Atlas, announce the release date for Persona 5 Scramble already, for God's sake. Give me that game. I need it. Or at the very least have English localization in the game.
Sorry about the technical difficulties or like router shenanigans, but we basically said all we needed to say.
Blame Australia really Internet.
Yeah, it's kind of I won't say any too soon jokes. Seems a bit out of taste.
Yeah. You can still blame Australia Internet though, because it's always been the issue.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, your fault.
I need water and I need sleep.
I need to go have lunch, so anyway.
Oh yeah, you do that. Bye everyone.
There you are.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.